You're listening to 66.6 FM. Radio TOVH. The Flush.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Toilet of Hell Radio Show. I'm Joe Thrashikill. With me I've got 365 Days of Horror and Brenocide!
Of course!
How we doing, fellas?
Why don't you yell my name?
Better than you!
Man, I have a hard enough time pronouncing your name as it is. Like, 365 Days of Horror, there's too much going on there.
Well, there's a reason why I have the name. It was because I went through an entire year of watching and reviewing horror movies.
And then that year is just going to stick with you for the rest of the years.
It pretty much ruined my life, yeah.
It ruined your life. Just ruined it.
I've seen so many bad horror movies in that 1 year that I'm good. I'm good for now.
Well, I thought that instead of having a really exciting guest on the show, we would do something completely different with this one. I asked our listeners / readers / randos on Twitter to send us questions to answer on the show. And boy howdy they did. We got so many stupid questions. And I think that it would be a lot of fun if we went through and tried our best to lend our unique insights to these poor souls that are asking some dipshits that run a toilet-themed metal blog for advice.
Oh, you're talking about those guys over at Lamb Goat.
Yeah.
Right? Because isn't Lamb Goat a reference to some kind of toilet?
Is it?
No,
I don't think so.
no.
It is now.
Yeah, it is now. Lamb Goat toilets.
I don't get
Flush them while you can. I don't fucking either, man. I'm trying. I'm doing the best I can here. Yeah, there were so many stupid fucking questions on Facebook right away. It's like, you think if one guy got in a joke question, that the second guy would see that, he'd log in and he'd be like, oh, someone else did a joke question. Maybe I should go play a video game or call my mother or something the fuck else. Nope. They all have to go in with joke questions like they're Mr. Originality. So what I had to do is I had to retreat to Twitter, and I got maybe 4 legitimate questions, maybe 3.5. But I know you got lots, so...
Well, I mean, like, I got lots. I don't know how many you would consider legitimate.
Well, we'll answer all of them anyway, because they deserve that much. We give the people what they want. That's what we're here for, guys.
All right, before we strap in and go through this mailbag, is there anything that we need to get out of the way for this episode? Anything that these folks need to know?
We simultaneously love and hate you all.
Accurate. Okay. Let's get into a really good one. A longtime reader of the Toilet of Hell had this question for us that I thought was at least somewhat thought-provoking and not overtly asshole-ish like all the other ones. Eric writes, how do you cope when kids eventually start calling bands you liked in high school dad rock?
Ooh. Yeah. I don't think that's happened yet, but I don't know. I kind of feel old anyway at this point, so it's just like, yeah, I guess you're right.
Did Eric cite any examples at all, or is that just the question he phrased?
That's just the question he phrased, but I mean, this is something that will happen to everyone at some point. I'm trying to think of stuff that I liked in high school, which, yeah, I was a big Coheed and Cambria fan in high school. Those guys already have like 1 or 2 best of records out now.
Yeah,
they're a little advanced in age, so I mean it's only a matter of time before they're I don't know, they're kind of the younger Rush, I guess.
Yeah, well, I love the first 3 Foo Fighters albums, and they are definitely dad rock now.
Well, it gets no more dad rock than Dave Grohl. He is.
Yeah, and I fully agree. I am not insulted by that. They are dad rock.
Dave Grohl seems like a dad. I don't even know if he has kids. He just a dad to us all. Yeah. Of course he does, yeah. Well, I will suggest I'll suggest to Eric if he's feeling rough about like dad rock things, that he follows an Instagram that's very close to my heart. And this Instagram is called Rigs of Dad.
Oh, hell yes. I love that.
Yeah, and what he should do is just follow them immediately and just soak in all the goodness. Read every single post this guy does. Don't miss a single one. They're all phenomenal, and it's pretty much written from the perspective of a dad rock type and just all of these people that are performing locally in his area. He makes up these ridiculous names for the venues that they play at. The names of their bands are always these very elaborate puns off the name of the person who's playing it. It's excellent. You'll feel so much better about the concept of dad rock.
I'm just trying to think of, like, I can't remember any off the top of my head, so I'm going to give my best try at voicing him. Just went down to Patio Houlihan's fish shop and caught Craig Hallahan and Ezra Fisherman. Their band, Gregor and Ezra, is the county's second best Better Than Ezra cover band.
I always make Rigs of Dad jokes with my members of my band, and one of the guys' last name is Boucher, so I call our band Heaven Isn't Too Far Boucher. And the other guy's a Polish guy, and his last name is Karz, Karcz, and so I just say, hey, is the Cars playing tonight and stuff like that. But yeah, he does a lot of things that dads who play guitar do. He calls Epiphones like Epi-Gibbies to try to squeeze Gibson into the phrase. He calls Line 6 amplifiers 6th generation line amps. It's a really quality follow. If you want to follow any joke social media account, that's the one to do it. But I've seen like Iron Maiden call dad rock, to get back to his question and stuff. I've seen all the big classic bands, Judas Priest, Slayer, Metallica, such and so forth. All those have been.
Well, I don't want to burst your bubble, but that was dad rock a generation ago. The current generation of dad rock is like 90s bands.
Well,
Pearl Jam.
Yeah,
that tells you how dad rocked I am. I'm so out of it that I'm like the 6th generation of dad rock.
So I think the obvious answer here is to have fun with it and appreciate that you're aging, but you're having a good time, The kids can have their new things, and you can have the things that you liked back then. Because, I mean, every man, as soon as he has a child, he becomes a dad, and then immediately is worthy of ridicule as a dad rock fan,
Get those blue jeans, boys.
Yeah, boot cut. With a pair of white New Balance shoes.
And tuck in the polo shirt and have a belt around it.
And then go right for Death Metal Underground.
Yeah, so the answer to your question, Eric, is have fun with it. Because you're a dad now and no one respects you, so be goofy and have a good time.
Great.
Okay. Do you want to pull out one of your questions next?
Who is you? Are we talking to 365?
Either one of you fellas.
I'm going to give 365 a chance to take the show here. 365, who asked you some questions here, bud?
This is one I just posted on Twitter, and I don't know who this person doesn't follow me, so not quite sure how they got in on this.
What's the handle?
At Mitch_Melrose.
All right.
Anyway, he asked, why, and I'm going to read it as he wrote it, including the error. Why do cry so hard when getting dumped? You knew it was coming.
Good question, man. Good question. Why do you cry so hard when getting dumped? You knew it was coming.
Oh, because, it's always difficult to have your heart broken. And we as human beings are emotional creatures. And it's hard to go through someone saying, nah, I don't like you anymore.
I've once read an interesting article that claimed that you have like the same psychological effects of someone close to you dying when somebody breaks up with you very often. It's that same sort of feeling of grief and loss, because there's just like a certain part of your life is over, and you kind of go through the same stages with that sort of thing, which I thought was really interesting, because everybody breaks up, and some guys are just really, really crushed by it. And, it always surprised me how upset people would get openly about getting broken up with. So that provided some insight that the human mind kind of does what it wants with our lives and how we cope with it.
My advice is don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Or smile because it's over.
Yeah, that too. I don't. How did this guy even find us?
I think the main toilet of hell Twitter retweeted my ask. So
Okay. Well, gonna be totally honest. An irony poisoned metal blog is probably not the place to get good relationship advice.
I don't know if he was asking for good advice, but here we are.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. Go get a tattoo and
Go fight someone.
fight someone, and then gamble and do all the other things that manly men do when they need to feel alive. Damn it.
And eat
Manly
pizza
man.
at 2 a.m.
That too. Anything else we want to add to that one?
No.
No.
No. Okay, move on.
Would you rather have all of the skin on your hand shaved off than dip it in buffalo sauce, or have to eat at Applebees?
That's a tough one. I'd probably say. I mean, is it Applebee's buffalo sauce? Is that important? Does it have to happen at an Applebee's? Because if I'm already there.
I've never had Applebee's. Somehow I've missed out on that. So I'm down to try anything once. So I guess that would be eating at Applebee's, and then the next time would be shaving.
It
all
must
the
be like a
skin off
9-hour drive somewhere else in Texas.
my hand. What's your take, Jordan?
It's Applebee's is fine. There's far worse that they could have put up with. Whatever, it's fine. Get a burger, you'll be fine.
Yeah, just get a Mountain Dew and just chill out for a half hour.
Well, was it?
Fucking
it was
uppity
Fridays.
pricks.
It was Fridays that had like the endless appetizer where you could eat like mozzarella sticks for 8 hours or something like that, right?
What if TJ Fridays had the part of their endless appetizer is they kept swapping out the buffalo sauce you had to put your skinned hand in? I thought that was really funny. I tried.
I'm glad one of us did.
I'm trying so hard. I have a couple questions here. If does anyone else want to throw their hat in the skinned hand or Applebee's fiasco?
Eating food or eternal pain and infections and disease. Geez, I don't know. Let's eat.
All right.
right.
That one is answered.
Okay, so I got a question. This one comes from Megan. And Megan performs in a band that was recently featured on the podcast. I was going to shout it out, but it seems like she doesn't want that as much as I originally thought she might. I was like, oh, sweet, we'll shout you on the podcast. And she was like, I'm my own person, you know. I have opinions outside of the band. This is why I never get to interview artists, is because I always turn them off somehow. I always say something stupid. But anyhow, she asks, what's up with all the lame-ass posturing and illusions of toughness and intimidation? It really has the opposite effect. I bet I really hope she's just asking about like heavy metal in general, and she didn't just send this to me, because I don't know how hurt my feelings should be. But I think this is just a question about the sort of overly macho sensibilities we seem to deal with in the scene. At least I'm going to answer it that way.
Well, I don't know.
Let
dude.
you guys answer.
We are pretty tough dudes, so could be calling us out. I don't know.
I thought that was really something. But more seriously, I've seen this too, and it's just a sort of kind of man baby syndrome that you're going to find running rampant in heavy metal. A lot of guys that are like way into the macho posturing and the refusal to show any kind of like weakness or ability to be offended or sympathize or empathize or any of that stuff. I think it's just a lack of maturity overall. They just kind of reached their peak at 15 and they just stuck with it because they have this really strange sense of trueness and like what matters in life. So they really just put up a front to hide the fact that they have like the biggest, squishiest, most sensitive feelings out of anybody you've ever met.
I think
like
My favorite instance of this kind of archetype, I mean, like it's common all over the place, especially in like the fringes of extreme metal. But our favorite punching bag, Phil Labonte, is extremely guilty of this. Even though he sings about his hurt feelings in auto tune, he poses as a tough manly man who's all about guns and being badass. I don't know, man. I think it's honestly just like what you said, an inability to mature and defining yourself by your own masculinity or your at least image of what you think masculinity is supposed to look like.
That's really, yeah, that's an excellent answer. I think that the guys who are really obsessed with gender norms and things like that and are really anti-trans and really anti just progression in regards to some of the gender fluidity, I guess I could say, that we're kind of experiencing more and more as time goes on. These are they just don't really have much to them outside of their manliness. They like crack open cold ones with the boys and they ride quads and they watch sports. And then like, of course, all those things are fun and fine, but if it's all you ever literally do, I mean, it becomes so important to you to like keep up with that image that you're just the toughest dude who does the dude stuff.
Yeah, I think they're insecure. They're fairly unremarkable human beings, and they're not too bright.
It's a thing, man. Like when dudes hit their mid-20s, something changes in their brain. And that's a scientific thing. Like there are all kinds of, it's like another puberty, if you will. And at that point, like a lot of insecurities come to light. A lot of people don't know what it is to be an adult or what it is to be a man. So it's common and it's comforting for some people to default to an image they have in their mind of what it's supposed to be like and to follow that. And unfortunately, like it's in metal, it's common, but it's definitely not exclusive to that. If you look at like the Molon Labe 3% dorks who like to cosplay like they're military men, it's the same thing where there is this premium to be as macho and masculine as possible because in your mind, that's what a man is supposed to be.
Oh yeah, same shit. Lots of different assholes. But that was a great answer, Joe. You guys are a lot smarter than me. I'm glad I got to pose it to both of you. But before we move on to the next question, I just wanted to give the world's biggest shout out to Megan's dog, Sarge, for being super cool. And I hope Megan hears this and tells him that I love him. And I'm going to boop his snoot through some sort of telepathic internet love because he's the greatest. And Franklin reminded me, actually, because he's in the background just letting me know.
Can you hear him? Can you hear him snoring?
Yeah, tell him I love him too when he wakes up.
That's great. I apologize, everybody. My pug is super sleepy. If you could only read one site for the rest of your life, would you choose Death Metal Underground or Metal Mofos?
Oh, that was my favorite question.
Good question, man. I'll let you guys you fight it out for first dibs.
Ooh, I think that was that Nathan who asked that question?
Yeah, Nathan at Bird Internet.
Nathan's my man. Hey Nathan, you're the dude. Thanks for buying my album and being cool about it. And anyway, I'm not gonna fight about it. I'm gonna let 365 take this one first.
I've never actually read Metal Mofos. Is that Carlos, the king of metal?
Carlos, the Mexican king of all metal.
Yeah, of course. My apologies, Your Highness. I've never read the site, but I've seen other metal bloggers and writers get into fights with him on Twitter, which is pretty entertaining.
Oh my God, you gotta watch his videos, dude. You gotta read his site. It's worth it. It really is.
What would you recommend?
Hey everybody, my name is Carlos, the magic geeky of heavy metal. And I'm here to say that the SJWs need to fuck off and stop being so sensitive. By the way, these people said something mean about Jesus today, and I thought that was really rude.
Wow. I mean, yeah.
I think I got to go with Metal Mofos now.
No, my answer is definitely Death Metal Underground because, and this is simply because because Metal Mofos does not update nearly as often, and so if I have to read one site, I want to have a lot of content to go through. You know, it's like this food is terrible in such small portions. I want to have huge portions of terrible content.
I'd really hate to say it, but I think I got to go with Joe on this one. Death Metal Underground. It's so much more sinister though. Like those guys are like, the thing about Carlos is he's awful, but he's stupid.
Yeah, he's super dumb.
He's the dumbest guy. Yeah, there's just one of them. He's the dumbest person literally on the internet, and he's so like, he's harmless. Honestly, I mean, like he's got bad opinions. He shares them all the time.
Oh yeah, I don't wish any like actual harm on the guy because I think he's kind of an idiot, and he's just as we mentioned earlier, cosplaying is something that he thinks is good.
Yeah, his life sucks. His blog isn't working out. As you can tell, there's not enough updates, and he's got really, really bad opinions about metal. At the end of the day, I kind of feel bad for the guy. As far as Death Metal Underground, though, those guys are like maliciously intelligent in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? Like they're well researched in bullshit. So
yeah, and I do want actual harm to fall on those guys, like bad physical pain.
Right, and I don't think that I think Daniel Murad and Carlos are kind of more of the same vein. They're both really stupid and ultimately harmless. But Brett Stevens, on the other hand, is a bit more like malicious with his intent to actually make the world like the white wonderland he wants it to be. So I think I'm changing my answer to Metal Mofos just because maybe we'll stop reading it pretty soon.
All right. Well, I'll change my answer too, just so that we can all have something to compare and contrast. Did you see the latest from Carlos?
No, I did not.
No. I've got to run real quick. I will be right back in 2 minutes. Metal Tex asks, can I have $5? No. Let's see. Jonathan wants to know, can God create a riff so heavy that he himself quails like a poser when it is played? I don't know.
Is quails a verb?
I'm going to say that he's probably better at words than I am because I think so, maybe. I don't know.
So he's asking if God can make a riff.
Yeah, if he can like make a hot pocket so hot that he can't eat it, the eternal question.
He might not be able to, but I was following up on my boy because we're friends. I like you guys. I listened in on a podcast you did with a Full Metal Hipster, and you had mentioned that Kenny G's son had put out an album.
It's a good album.
And I know his name is Max Gorlick, but he's going to be known as Maxi G from here on out. And I think his riffs would beat God's. I think he would actually out-riff the Lord. That's really some sweet riffage, if I do say so myself.
That is the boldest praise like I can imagine. I'll be sure to tag him on this one because I bet he'll be delighted. But yeah, I agree. The guy riffs like a motherfucker.
Yeah, The Mantle. Everybody check it out.
So it's like The Devil Went Down to Georgia, but Max G went up to, I don't know, Minnesota.
Rhode Island.
Yeah, you get a solid gold headless 9-string guitar if you win.
Wah pedal.
So yeah, I'm gonna say God cannot create a riff so heavy, but someone else can.
Yep. Dude's a
Sure.
6-string master. And I mean, like, I'm pretty sure he just plays the 6-string on that. There's nothing crazy going on as far as the bowdy bows and the wop wops. He's just got the, the shred-tacular Steve Vai. Oh, Steve Vai 7 strings. Fuck. Who's a good example?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh,
Ed
well.
from Korn.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. He plays the 7 string, too. He just takes off the bottom string.
I just picked the
top
one that
string.
came to my head.
The top string. Anywho.
Odessa has a really good question here. What's your most embarrassing band shirt and or band you were into?
Hey, Odessa. Thanks for buying my album, hon. Let's see. My most embarrassing band shirt is definitely... We just brought up Korn, but I have, like, somewhere piled deep, deep down into the, just, like, recesses of my closet somewhere, just, like, my Korn shirt from middle school, where it was, like, one of the album covers for Issues. You guys remember how they had, like, multiple covers that came out for that album?
Yeah, I had the one that had the teddy bear on it, or the one-eyed... Yeah.
Little ragdoll, yeah. The one that I had was the one where all the band members were like stitched up zombies in like an insane asylum that was way too edged out. Like I had that shirt and I loved it and wore it like every other day in high school. But I think I still own it. I've thrown out all the other crap, but I think that one's still sitting somewhere.
How about you, Jordan?
Well, first I want to say, Odessa, why don't you follow me on Twitter? You follow these
Yeah.
two jerks. Am I not good enough? But as far as her question, when I was younger, I used to go to a lot of just local metal shows, just seeing whoever, just because it was fun to get out of the house and hang out with friends. And I got this one for free, so hopefully that's a pass. But the band was called B-Side Theory, and it was very close to rap metal. And the shirt was just the Mortal Kombat dragon symbol with the band name under it. And I definitely wore that shirt way too much.
I mean, that's
Yes.
actually that's pretty cool. I'd wear that.
I might still have it. I could send it to you.
Yeah.
Super sick.
That's not a bad one. That's pretty good.
I'm real selective about the shirts. Like, I have to like really love a band to buy it, so I don't have too many embarrassing ones. I mean, I've said on here that I like baby metal and I own baby metal shirts. I'm not embarrassed by it, but other people might be.
You should be. No,
Never.
It's fine.
I've been.
Baby metal. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. We all have, I guess, if you find yourself on the left somewhere politically, you kind of do an accounting of your life and you realize maybe you had a pre-woke period.
I can't wait for your answer here.
So, like, my desk right now, I've got several books, like, on, socialist theory. But before I was, I was a teenager at one point and I was stupid as shit, just like a lot of teenagers. I owned a shirt from a band called Bitch Slicer.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Slicer, yes.
Not like I don't know. I was into the band for like 2 weeks. Just like super scummy, just super scummy metal, and he also did like country music. I think he was a big G.G. Allin fan. Anyway, the shirt itself, beneath Bitch Slicer, it was a shark having sex with a woman. I wore it once, and then I threw it away. So that is by far the most embarrassing shirt that I've ever owned.
I think this speaks volumes of me that I didn't bring up that there's probably an anal cunt shirt somewhere, and I wasn't embarrassed enough about it to bring it up.
I've written many thousands of words about that band, so I'm not gonna fault you too much for that one.
Sure.
I just remembered I had, so long story short, Josh Silver from Typo Negative was like a family friend, and he sent me like an entire care package of just Typo Negative stuff. And one of the shirts that he included was a long sleeve white shirt of the cover for The Origin of the Feces. And if you don't know what that cover is, it's Peter Steele's spread asshole.
I didn't know it was his butthole. I just thought it was a random hairy butthole.
It might be. That's what I was told. I never wore it, and I sold it.
I imagine that's like such a pricey collector's item too.
I think I got
it's
about $30 for it, so good enough.
I'm looking at the picture of the album cover, and if you didn't tell me it was, I would have just guessed it was his butthole. It's just like, that's Peter Steele's sphincter.
I'd know that butthole anywhere.
That's his butthole.
You could pick it out of a police
Lineup.
lineup.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
I know that ass anyway.
wow.
Thanks, Odessa.
Thanks.
Wow, I feel, that one got out of hand quick. How about Slaves BC? Cool band, member of the Bandcamp Gift Club. Has a couple of cool questions. So let's do one of the two of these. Asking both, what is your favorite god? And who's your favorite president?
Who is your favorite god? I think we would go with God, because then I could just say Odin and be done with this. Just bow the fuck out. I don't want to talk about presidents ever. Because it's like, if you say Obama, which is the obvious answer for people in our generation. What? Bill Clinton's better?
No, I think they're both bad, actually.
Great. Well, I mean, that just means every president's been bad since we've been alive, so...
That is actually probably fair. My favorite president, for a number of reasons, is LBJ. He, he definitely did kind of somewhat destroy Vietnam and the lives of untold thousands of soldiers.
Well, shit. If we can go back, I would say old Teddy Roosevelt, man. He was a true bro. Shot, and he didn't give enough of a shit to stop the speech. So,
Wait, was that Roosevelt?
Teddy, yeah, it was him.
Oh, okay. Apparently my presidential history is fucked. How about you, Jordan? What do you think?
William Henry Harrison.
Why William Henry Harrison, other than he died after like 28 days in
That's
office?
the reason. But in high school, I think for my history final, it had to be like write about like who the best president was, and I actually chose, out of all the presidents, James K. Polk, who was the 11th president.
Yeah, They Might Be Giants wrote a very informative song about him.
Yeah, and he like all his major promises he actually accomplished. So I don't know. I thought that was enough to write about, and he did kind of get us into war with Mexico. But other than that, did some okay stuff.
Okay, so that's
Oversaw the opening of like the Smithsonian, stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying. Domestically, LBJ, great president. He started he had the war on poverty. He made PBS a thing. The Civil Rights Act, great domestically. Just dog shit awful with foreign policy.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? I like Benjamin Franklin because he's the most monies.
Good president.
Benjamin
the
best president. The best president. Yeah, why don't you roll with one, and once you're done with that one, I'll move on.
My girlfriend hit me on Twitter and said, "What metal band do you think Franklin would be into?" If you get here right now, Franklin is my pug. His cone is currently rubbing against my office chair and making a lot of noise.
I would say Spaz.
Good answer. Good answer.
What metal band Franklin would like?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Franklin's ruined so much stuff for your podcast that he's probably an asshole. So he probably likes all the asshole bands like Destroyer 666s and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say Merzbow just because he likes noise.
Just kidding, Franklin. Druid is your favorite band. I love you.
Do you have your question you want to use?
If I told you no, would you judge me?
No, it's fine. Here's a really, really good one. Username @agoddamnunicorn asks, "Is metal good?"
No.
What do you got, Jordan?
I'm thinking.
No.
It depends on what you mean by good.
No.
Like, good to listen to? Is it good for people? Is it good for the community?
No.
And I mean, really, the answer is no.
No.
It keeps the kids off the streets.
Does
No.
it? I feel
They
like
gotta stand on the streets waiting for tickets.
Yeah.
There's no roving gangs of. Well, actually, they probably are.
They're roving in gangs onto the streets to go get tickets. Have you ever seen them out there? They're scary. I gotta go hold my Jesus Loves You sign in front of them, and they yell at me.
I guess metal is good in that it gave us, us and a whole lot of other people a distraction from the screaming, endless, void of existence, which is nice. Is it good in that we could have, focused our efforts on maybe doing something to better mankind? Yeah, it's probably bad then.
I think
Instead of
there's a
doing this podcast right now, or writing about 6 reasons why your band should wear bucket hats on stage, we could have spent this time organizing our communities to better them.
Yeah, if the entire genre wasn't so collectively broke, I'm sure we could do some really sweet benefit shows. But any money that gets pumped into it needs to go in somebody's pocket very dastardly. Dastardly was not the word I needed. It was probably dearly. But it's just that kind of a night. So I think metal has a lot of really good music. So if you were to say, is metal music good? Oh, God, of course. Yeah, absolutely. But unfortunately, and a lot of people don't want this to be the case, metal is not just music. There's so much more to it. And more as I grow and experience life, I find that the more you get away from the music aspect of it itself, the worse it gets. So I can't say for sure that it is good, considering.
I would say if it makes people happy and doesn't harm anyone, then it's good.
If it makes you happy, it can't be that bad. Oh, come on now. All right, you guys, you pick the next question.
Okay. My next question comes from my gent here, Richard Weeks. Richard is known as Pope Richard. He is the head of Black and Death Records. You can check him out on blackanddeath.com. And throw a couple bucks his way because he's going through some stuff. He can't seem to find a landlord who's got his shit together, and he keeps finding himself in between homes for so many stupid reasons. So check him out. He's also the head of, or he maybe the one-man band, I'm not sure, of Suicide Wraith. Suicide Wraith is a really cool band. But Richard writes in, he says, who should we fire into the sun first? Burzum fans or Varg himself?
Ooh.
It's weird because it's just he murdered someone and would definitely murder more people. But his fans are all okay with that, and they would probably do the same thing if they had the chance.
Or have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Here, I guess we could go into... Well, my thoughts about this are look, let's go to the extreme. Let's throw Godwin's law out the window and just say... A lot of people kind of bring up that question. If you could go back in time and kill baby Hitler, would you do it?
You just appear in Weimar, Germany, just murdering an infant in front of...
Yeah. Well, look, my answer to that question will always, for the next 100 years, every man alive is going to be no, I would not do that. Because Adolf Hitler was a figurehead for a much bigger movement of people who agreed with him and advised him and inspired him and talked him through everything that happened at Hitler's hand. I mean, Adolf Hitler is the one we call out as the evildoer, but at his side were hundreds and thousands of people who were just as bad and just as guilty. So killing the person, killing this baby, wouldn't have stopped what happened at all. And I think, to go back to Richard's question, if you just shot Varg Vikernes into the sun, it's not going to do anything about all his fans and all these people that admire him and think he's endearing and look up to him as the huge piece of shit that he is. So I think we need a bigger rocket, is what I'm saying. Fire his fucking fans right up in there.
I'm going to actually take the moderate position on this one, which is rare. I know a lot of people who like Burzum, and a lot of them are just like gentle nerds who like Dungeon Synth because Varg, for better or worse, kind of pioneered that farty little keyboard atmospheric sound. So they don't necessarily have to agree with his nationalist views to think like, hey, the originator of this genre, like I like his music.
Yeah, and I think Richard is talking about a specific type of person when he's mentioning Burzum fans. Like, I like all of Burzum's music. I think it's really cool to listen to, but knowing where it comes from just sort of, soils it for me in a way that I just kind of can't enjoy it. And I'm sure lots of people are wringing their hands at that sort of statement, and as many Burzum fans tend to do. So it's like it either comes from a place of just like pure wickedness or complacency, which I mean, I don't know which is really worse at this point.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't even like black metal, but
Neither do I.
it seems like when if you would ask me this question a year ago, I would be able to muster more piss and vinegar for it. But there are so many genuinely bad people in the world doing terrible things right now that it's hard for me to care too much if somebody occasionally puts on Havar or whatever the shit when they're winding down for the day.
Yeah, I mean, maybe about a year or two ago, I was listening to our favorite Mexican DJ on our favorite Mexican DJ metal channel, and he had featured the guys from Death Heaven, and they were kind of going down the list of all their favorite music, and Kerry McCoy shared a Burzum song, and he said, "Oh, this is the best black metal song of all time," and I forget which one it was, because I can't pronounce any. Yeah, I can't pronounce any of them, so. But it's just like I know there's people who like Burzum and they have no political slant any which way, and I get that they're not inherently bad people just for enjoying the music, and they can kind of separate the art from the artist, and that's such a messy subject in and of itself. God, but I guess going back to Richard's question, I think he's talking about a specific kind of Burzum fan, and in that way, I agree with him.
Gotcha. Jordan, what's your take?
Kill 'em all.
Yeah, I just, in this instance, I'm just going to say it would be really satisfying to launch one man into the sun and then laugh while it's happening. So I'm gonna launch Varg, and that's it for now. What else we got, guys?
Here's a question from Justin.
Mm-hmm.
Why does black metal suck so bad?
Man, well,
do we need to? I guess
we need to go back over the last question we just talked about then.
Well, what is he referring to? Well, okay, so why does black metal suck so bad?
That's the question.
It's complicated.
Black metal is a land of contrasts.
The thing is, if you think it sucks, then it's kind of like you've just called yourself out as a normie who can't handle it, where we make it suck to phase out people like him. So that's my take anyway. It sucks because you suck. So shut up, dork.
So it's like the Icelandic fermented shark that tastes like shit. Like it's supposed to be bad.
Yeah. We work really hard on making it suck. Think about that next time you run your mouth, man.
I think black metal sucks because this particular genre is such an interesting, unique of characteristics, and that the founders of the genre were like 18-year-old, maybe 17, 18-year-old edgelords who were just trying to basically get a rise out of people and be as bad as they could be, while creating music that was so amateurish and shitty to listen to. So you had a proliferation of both bad music and bad attitudes.
Yeah. I mean, even though they were 17, 16, they were like a Columbine 17, 16 kind of kid. They were not
old enough
good.
to get the chair.
They were not good kids. So they've proven that much.
So yeah, I mean, like if It sucks that Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold were into like KMFDM or some shit like that. It'd be much more convenient to blame it all on Burzum.
Yeah, I think black metal has a lot of really cool elements that kind of came out accidentally through the effort towards shit making. I think trem picking is really cool. I think blast beats are really cool. I think that a lot of genres in metal that aren't necessarily black metal sort of have taken on those things and done a lot of great things with them that might not have happened if these bands didn't sort of try to do something a little bit different and a little too dark and mysterious and what have you. So, I mean, I think a lot of the music stuff at least has its worth. Say what you will about the culture, of course. I hold no, loyalty to that side of things. Okay, so this next question comes from a longtime reader. I've seen him around the blog, certainly. Dental Damnation. And he asked, when is a black metal song considered too long? And then he says, I'm specifically referencing that train wreck of an ending of a podcast with metal text. To which Joe asks, what, you mean Couch Slut? And he's like, yes. He just replied, that's what. And then he said, that song definitely could have been chopped in half or even quartered, to be honest. And at that point, I realized he's probably talking about the song from my band and not from Couch Slut. Because Couch Slut song is 4 minutes long, dude. It is not a sitter. It is a nice, quick, thrashy, grindy, cool song, and it is not what he's talking about.
Yeah, I'll be real with you, man. I used the shortest Druid song you got to end that other episode.
Yeah, and it was what, about 9 minutes, maybe?
It was pretty long.
Yeah, it's a long one. I get it. We wanted to write an atmospheric black metal album. That's what you do. You write a couple songs, and they're very long, and they go on for a while, and you get lots of riffs in so it can breathe. So if you don't like it, then refer to my last answer about how you're a normie, and we phased you the fuck out. So sorry. Didn't cut it, man. Tough break, kid.
I don't know. I don't have much patience for anything. I rarely listen to full albums like anymore. And if an album clocks in at like 2 hours, I'm never ever going to hear any of it.
Yeah, but that's why we only put out this album, and I guess we'll call it an album. Originally, we were referring to it as an EP because it only had 3 songs on it. But then we realized that an EP is a very specific type of thing that would go on a smaller vinyl record than the usual full-size vinyl record, which would be an LP. We realized it was like a 40-minute piece of music. So we're like, okay, obviously we should just call this an album, even though it's only 3 songs. I don't know. I feel like as I'm getting older, time just goes. It's just I get more gray hairs every day. My 2-hour-long drives seem like nothing. Time doesn't seem the way it used to when I was young. I could sit through a 15-minute track and then not even think about it, really. That's my answer anyway. I don't know. What do you guys think? Too long, too short? Not about my music, but in general, like, can songs be too long?
I can think of one song I like that's more than 11 minutes. That's in all of the music I've ever listened to in my life. one song.
All right, moving on. So, Noah, what's the song, man?
Crystallize by Haken or whatever the fuck. It's they're prog nerds, and it's a full on like 25-minute song, but it's actually like, I don't know, they do it right. Like, it follows a logical flow, and it's catchy and fun. I don't know. What do you think, Jordan?
I don't think that there should be any sort of set cap on songs. Like, nope, 10 minutes, that's it, nothing more. You know, if it's a good enough song, it can be as long as it wants. But, I mean, if you clearly run out of ideas, or here's the acoustic part again for another 5 minutes, then, you know, yeah, it should be shorter. But overall, if it's good, it doesn't matter how long it is. It could be 20 seconds, it could be 20 minutes.
I've always felt like with certain prog bands, and specifically I'm going to reference Between the Buried and Me because they just kind of come to mind. They're progressive. They go all over the place with their music. That's just kind of their thing. They'll kind of have this really great riff or hook that's happening within the song, and it's there. And then in some weird polyrhythmic change in time that's not supposed to happen, it's gone and it never comes back. And you really don't have time to enjoy the hook and enjoy that riff for long enough. It doesn't repeat enough times. And I've always been a guy who just likes songs where there's a really cool part and it just kind of goes for just a bit. I get in that groove. I like that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where it is. That was our mindset when we wrote the music that we did. And I mean, we don't do very well. A lot of people don't like it. I get that, but it's what we wanted. So
you got to consider your audience, man. Like I'm a knuckle dragger. I like short songs. I like Short Songs by the Dead Kennedys. It's a good song. So what I like is clearly very different from what somebody who's into, like, you know, extended black metal jams, you know? That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm just getting more into like long ambient stuff. Like I said, time just kind of goes. I'm losing my days, you know? my cats are getting visibly older and it's stressing me out. And I'm just, you know, the kids are getting younger. They're calling my stuff dad rock, and I just can't deal with it.
Let's
call back.
Let's close it with something a little different. How about this? Because I mean, this is just completely left field, and it's actually kind of interesting. So that's surprising that it comes from Tommy.
He won't hear about it, so
yeah, he'll never listen to this. What is the most
shit poser?
What is the most relaxing experience you've had in the last year?
I'll let someone else start.
I don't know, man. Like the question itself relaxes me.
This podcast, yeah.
I think I'm always so constantly aggravated and annoyed and just busy with so many things. I don't even know if I've had one.
Yeah, I mean, like. I'm a pretty agitated dude in general, so relaxation moments are pretty strange to come by.
Yeah, like sleep doesn't even count for me because I have so many nightmares.
Why is that so funny to me?
Well, next time we have a sleepover, it won't be so funny.
Well, I don't like sleeping on the bottom bunk. I'm just saying that much. I guess I'm going to say the most relaxing moment I've had all year is when late last year, kind of coming into this year, they legalized a certain herbal supplement in my state that wasn't so legalized before.
Kratom? I take that shit all the time.
I've been getting into, something like that. Maybe a little less stinky. And I've just been chilling, man, and just enjoying it, just breaking my anxiety for the first time. My anxiety's been broken in like 5 years. Just getting into that, like really enjoying music and like life in little bursts. I don't know, that kind of shit.
I feel like this would have been useful information to have on our last question when you're talking about enjoying 15-minute long songs.
Well, it's the information's there now, man. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's fair. I wish that herbal supplement worked the way it's supposed to work for me, but sadly, it does not.
Yeah, and I try to keep
vomit.
right onto a coffee table at a hot chick's house.
Yeah. I get really paranoid too, like paranoid and anxious, and then occasionally I get that sensory overload thing that makes me vomit on people's personal belongings.
I can, and you know, it really depends on overdoing it and like what strain of the stuff you do. It's like that all can kind of factor into it. But I mean, I've found a pretty good crop, in other words, for weed. I'm just gonna keep busting instead of just being a grown up and saying it. But yeah, I don't know. It's been great. I'm probably gonna get a card for it because it really helps. I don't do it all the time. I just kind of do it on the like Friday night or weekends or something when I could just chill and I don't have to be anywhere. Because I get like really loopy, really crazy, really obviously that way. So it's like I can't just like do it and then go live my life like some of these guys who just, you know, live their life with half pot smoke, half oxygen, and they just like live in a bong. Definitely not one of those types.
So the question was like your peaceful moment. Was that what it was?
The most relaxing moment.
I'll say watching the snowfall at night during the winter.
Good answer. Good answer. For me, when me and my lady went to Cuba, we found this really great beach, and I laid down and read a book for a while, and then fell asleep for a little while. And when I woke up, there were these 2 stray dogs that had come by to sleep next to me. So I felt real comfy, like sleeping in the sand with strange puppies.
That's pretty good.
It's great, man. Were you relaxed with the fleas afterwards, or?
I mean, like, I was filthy, so it didn't matter.
They got fleas from you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess if you're sitting on the beach, the salt air isn't so good for little bits and critters like that, so maybe it wasn't so bad. But yeah, and also I recently took the trip out to Boston, like Jordan saw. During Pride, I had no idea Pride was going on in Boston, but my wife and I went to the MFA to check out some art because she wanted to check out some of the Botticelli and all that good stuff, and it was just really cool just seeing my wife really enjoy it and just going into a place where you could just walk up to any wall, any corner, and see like a friggin' priceless masterpiece just hanging an inch from your face. You just turn a corner and there's just like a Van Gogh just right there, you know. It's just really cool and really just awe-inspiring and inspirational. It was really rad. I had a great time.
Botticelli, that's like a noodle thing, right?
Yeah, if you gotta make sure to boil it that extra minute or else it's just too firm.
Al dente, that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
Is there another question you guys want to do, or can we call this one a day?
Would you be creeped out if you told you I was al dente right now?
Yes.
Let's see, another question. One guy asked, what's your favorite Toilet of Hell Discuss account, and why is it Ann Coulter's Adam's Apple? Well, the answer to that is Brenocide, because he's my favorite one. He's the only one who writes comments that are funny.
This is actually a pretty good question, because I've talked this over with W before, that I thought it'd be a fun idea to have like a Commenter of the Year award. Because Deadspin used to do that, and Deadspin used to have such great, funny comments. They don't anymore because their system of commenting changed, unfortunately. But I don't know, man. I think I got a couple of favorites. Hans Mueller is probably my favorite right now. Always very funny.
Yeah, he's a solid pick. He's a funny guy.
I go with Link.
Yeah, Link's a good one too.
You my boy, Link.
My favorite band commentator is King Shit of Fuck Mountain. Rest in shit, fuckhead.
Yeah.
See you in hell, fuckhead.
Oh, what happened with that one? Can we take a minute and I don't know anything about that.
Oh, he's just an asshole.
Oh.
You know. I mean,
speaking of asshole, my cat just walked in. I guess I gotta feed him. Maybe we should wrap this up.
All right. I think we're going to call it a day. Thanks for listening. If we didn't answer your question, it's not necessarily that it was a bad question. It's that we got so many of them.
He's getting older. I'm getting stressed.
It's okay.
I should go listen.
It's going to be okay.
I'm gonna go listen to a 15-minute song right now, guys. I can't. I love you guys. I'll see you later. You're my best friends, really. And I gotta go. I can't do this.
All right, I'm going to go to bed. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Later, dudes.
You're listening to 66.6 FM. Radio TOVH. The Flush.